We're live.
We're live.
Yeah.
Wow, welcome to this podcast. I don't really know what to say, Remy.
Me neither. But we should probably introduce ourselves.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I don't know. Yeah? No, like...
Fine, I'll go first then. Since you're hesitating, which you do quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a holistic counsellor, psychotherapist, currently working for the Metavision Institute, and I facilitate the holistic counselling skills and the foundational counselling skills course, working very closely with Christina Nielsen, who's the founder. And I also have a private practice where I see, through word of mouth, I see clients, a lot of the times couples, which I love. I love dynamics and relationship dynamics and that sort of thing.
So strong counselling.
Yeah. I'm also a mother of 5 boys, including 1 stepson, a grandmother of 3 girls, and soon to be having a grandson. So lots of family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't have as much experience as you, so...
Well, I'm a little bit older.
So my bio would be, I don't know how to explain it, just like a flailing around young guy trying to make
how
sense
old
of
are
it.
you?
26.
Right.
So yeah, I've spent a lot of my time doing casual work, retail, hospo, partying, and not really having a sense for the future. But just recently I've picked up a carpentry apprenticeship and started to think a bit further down the line and starting to think more about skills and what value you can give back to society rather than being a mooch and just like, surviving on the dregs of society. So I'm like, turning my life around in that sense. And even starting this podcast with you is pretty fun. Another question we could ask is why we want to do it now.
Why do we want to do this podcast? Yeah, that's a good question. Now, I kind of I'm really passionate about people. And Remy and I do this conversation that we have, we can talk for hours on the phone.
Yeah.
And we read the same sort of books. I'm a self-help book
Guru.
Fanatic.
Yeah.
Always constantly reading self-help books, taking little nuggets, maybe not always applying them to life. How you can read whatever you want, but to put it down is really difficult. Plus working so much with people and just seeing the humanness sometimes people don't see their worth, and how, I don't know, I get really excited when people can understand that maybe some of their flaws are like a superhuman power, and just to get it out there and be able to touch other people in that way too.
Yeah. And
to have that discussion that we're having, that we kind of get really ignited by.
Yeah.
And thinking maybe others would like to hear it. I don't know. It's a bit wanky.
No, I feel like we've G'd each other up to do this because we've gone through it ourselves in terms of feeling like inadequate in ways and feeling all the feels and kind of realizing that it's not always bad. There's through all the darkness there is some light, and when you have those moments of light you get inspired, and I think it's really important to act on your inspiration and keep that motivation alive, because I think that's probably the essence of having a happy life, because you're acting on your curiosity and trying to just step in the direction that makes you happy. And maybe we can shed light on what you said about people being okay with their individuality, even though they might feel so inadequate. Try and bridge the gap of making people feel something.
Also, I feel that whole positive psychology of, let's just be positive. Come on, let's
good
be
vibes, bro.
Yeah, let's be truthful.
Or you're okay the way you are. There's a part of it which is kind of wrong. It's if you're heavy into drugs and ruining your life and doing all these terrible things that deep down is terrible, then you aren't okay the way you are, you know. And we need to kind of have a dialogue for knowing that you have inside yourself of like when when you are okay and when you're not okay, and that's a very blurry line.
Well, I just know that, you know, people look at counsellors, psychotherapists, and think we've got it all together. And just to be really honest and say, hell no. Having good days, having bad days, crying, feeling the pain of life, feeling the pain of society's pain, you know, those sort of things are really... And just to let people know that it's not easy, but you know what? We're all going through it together.
Right. And that's the essence behind the podcast, is kind of to put ourselves out here on the interwebs, open ourselves up to criticism or praise or anything that we've missed. We want to know what we're missing, because you don't know what you don't know, and there's probably someone out there that can help me by saying, hey Rem, you were talking about this, but I noticed you missed this, and I'm just open to criticism because I know I'm not perfect. And that's
so also open to what people want to actually hear us talk about. And you know, I think that's really important too. But what I really... You were describing yourself, but you didn't describe things of going to live in Melbourne and being homeless.
I think
Which you weren't homeless because you could have come back to mum.
I chose homelessness. I think, maybe it's too easy to say like I'm an average guy from the suburbs, because everyone has their trials and tribulations. And I think those trials and tribulations make you who you are. It defines your character. And for some reason, growing up as a kid, like if I was asked what I want to be when I grow up, there was a moment where I said I want to be a bum. And you got to be careful what you wish for.
You did say you want to be a bum and sell t-shirts at the back of your van.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I made that a reality. And, you know, people can always try to tell you how to live your life, and you got to do it like this, you got to do it like this. But a part of you is so rebellious that it's like, no, I want to do it my way. So I still went to Melbourne to live in a car and be homeless and go to parties and not pay and dumpster dive and live that lifestyle, because for whatever reason we can get into later, but it was a formative experience that I'll never regret.
Well, it certainly scared the shit out of me. To be completely honest, it was so scary being your mum, and being on the phone to you and you're saying, I'm just going to go over to the park and cook some potatoes.
Yeah,
like
that I found
just
in
the park that you found in the bin.
And I cook it for all the backpackers and all the other hippies in the park. And
so what I find interesting is that you've come from that, and then you went into Queensland and you were doing the whole farming thing while we're all in lockdown here with COVID. But you're working on a farm, and you've come back and you're wanting to live this whole legitimate... Is it legitimate? I don't know. Like
it's totally legitimate.
What is it that's changed?
Well, I didn't understand maybe objective knowledge, just skills that make things actually better, really better. I thought that my attitude, if I can just go down to Melbourne, go to some parties, just make people smile, that's as simple as my thought process is I just want to make people smile. I just want to provide value with no value in return.
That's our dog, Hendrix.
Hendrix Frey. Our dog wants to be a part of this. Hendrix.
Yeah, so... Sorry about that. Yeah, so now Remy's come back and he's an apprentice carpenter, which is really, really good.
Yeah, so essentially, just quickly, I came back from Melbourne, came back here because I needed a refuge, and thank God that I have you, because I wouldn't have been able to get my bearings and figure out something else to do. But I also met a really nice girl who I saw her life and she saw mine, and we showed interest in each other, and then we kind of realized, well, I realized that I need to do hard work. I need to build a work ethic. And I never worked full-time in my life until I decided to go to the farm and do some hard farm work. build up the work ethic to then come back to Sydney to go, oh, I know how to work hard now. I know how to sweat. I know how to keep going. Let's put that energy into something constructive, literally.
Yeah.
So now, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about me. What about yourself? Like, what brought you to, how'd you even get into counselling?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking about how my life, it feels like it's been a struggle from when I was young. I moved out of home at 14 and had a child, my first son, at 17.
Wow.
Yeah. And then had 3 more because I wasn't satisfied with just that. But, there's just been so many things like in life, and bringing up you boys, and then your father passing away suddenly. That was a huge thing in life, the grief. Like the grief of losing someone so close, or you know, and then you know, one of my sons having mental health issues, and then seeing that there's really nothing out there that I felt was holistic, or there wasn't enough support as a parent with children with mental health issues. And yeah, just that whole pain made me go and sort of work on myself. And I see it with a lot of students, because I'm also
Yeah.
student liaison with the Medivision Institute. So I see a lot of students come in, and you know, they have, it's such a transformative thing that they're going through all this stuff, and as they're studying trauma, grief, whatever it is, they're going through it for themselves as well, and being able to support them through that is such a, you know,
Yeah.
an amazing thing to do. But also having my own experience of going through that, working on myself, and constantly working on myself, because it's a lifelong thing.
Never ending.
It doesn't end. And I think we kind of think if we go and have therapy, or we do this, or if we get this, or get this amazing job, or whatever it is, buy that house, buy that piece of jewelry, then we're going to feel good about ourselves, or our life is going to be somehow magically better.
Yeah.
The whole thing that's missing is our internal thoughts and processes about how we feel about ourselves.
And I think that you teach that really well, because I think without you having that quality, I wouldn't be able to just live in the back of a car in a state that I know nobody or one person. And it's because you taught me that that self-esteem, that relationship with myself that no one really can take away from you. And so that I was armored with that. So that was kind of something that you were able to give me that was really really like a tool almost. But then I realized, like, you know, you can't survive on that. So it took me a while to like just survive on being happy with myself, feeling good, and just having fun, and everything was happy-go-lucky. But then there is the other side of like, yeah, you can make things better if you really try.
Yeah.
And it's finding that balance between like being at peace with where you are now. It's like enjoying the journey, maybe.
Well, it's just, for me, it's interesting about your personality, because I guess you will accept every single person from any walk of life, which sometimes is kind of like scary, because there needs to be that discernment, which I've tried to teach you. You know, like you need to discern on who is good and who is bad, and I think that I had I'm similar to you in that sense, like just really accepting of people, and try so much not to, I mean, we all judge, but try not to judge. You know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think I was always, and still able to always see the good in people, which is a really great skill to have, to see the good in people, not judge them, and treat them as an equal.
Put him down.
Yeah, bro.
Our dog is like
Sorry, guys.
17, 18. He's got dementia.
Yeah.
Which I wonder about myself sometimes as well. But yeah. No, dementia is what I was saying, because I kind of forget.
Yeah.
And you get, you know.
But yeah, I think, as we were saying, talking about accepting people as they are, I would always accept people as they are, do what they wanted to do. But when I left their presence, it was always kind of like, I'm not going to talk to them again.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah, and it's a really passive way of like, kind of living my truth, because I should be able to be authentic enough to be myself in their presence, but that's something I'm struggling with.
You've always had a problem with saying no,
Yeah, huge.
and sometimes it's more that people pleasing than being able to define your boundaries,
Yeah,
which I think will be a great topic, like boundaries, because
yeah.
a future topic of talking about boundaries, especially with you, who
Well,
has such a difficulty.
yeah.
You're getting better though.
Yeah, but it's such a problem, because you
Yeah.
want to be authentic, but you don't want to rub anyone the wrong way.
Yeah.
So it's so tough to find that balance. But
Well, I just think too there are sort of certain ways to work with boundaries and other things, but we're all coming in with a temperament of our own issues that we need to work with, like reactiveness.
yeah,
You know, it could be passionate, but you could come across as angry. Or, you know, you talk about me and my ways. I just get stuff done.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like, I'm just like, this is what we're doing. Come on, what are you doing? I just like get on that tangent.
Yeah, I like to watch. I love people like that, because I like to just watch what they want to do and be like, yeah, cool. They're going for it. I'm a bit more airy and stuff like that.
I have the other quality though. I can be that sloth that just sort of hangs out and does nothing.
Which is something I probably did for like the last few years of my life. Like living in the van up near Byron Way, I just remembered I just spent every second day at a different beach reading books or listening to podcasts, and
Nice.
it's really nice to give yourself that space. But I find it's always going to come back to a balance of like,
You can have
Right.
too much space.
yeah,
You know, like you need, I don't know, there's like that meaning that needs to be had. What are you doing? Like,
yeah, it's
what are you working towards?
yeah, and it's always
Yeah.
been this question in myself of like, I want to know what I want to do, but I can't, because what I want to do is influenced by everyone else. You know, because I want to impress certain people, I want to look good in a certain way, and because of those things, I'm restricted in a way.
But just
And-
think about this too, that how much of that is yours and how much of it is society and media and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, like you're supposed to look a certain way, or women have it like
Oh, for sure.
ridiculously how, you know, you can't age, or if you age gracefully, which means don't do anything to yourself. But I don't know, like, oh, and then you've got,
The paradox.
there's so many things I could talk about women and how they talk about other
Too
women,
many
and
things.
it's
because
shocking.
That reminds me of like the information overload that you talked about the other day, and it's reminds me of this concept that I really like, which is like an information diet. In terms of like the things that we're looking at on screens all the time, how much do they influence us?
So much.
You know, because we call them influencers for a reason. And I think maybe why we're doing this podcast is kind of like we want to stand up for ourselves and kind of try to speak from our heart, from an authentic place, to say, this is us speaking from our own perspective and not from somebody else's.
Yeah.
You want to speak your truth, I think.
I think that, and just like being really aware of what is happening within our world today. What is it? You know, like, is it yours, or is it, you know, is it society's expectations, or are you carrying part of that, or is it actually coming from you and coming from your history or your past, or, you know?
It's probably all of the above.
But just to get really clear on what does that look like.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing. Speaking of getting clear, what should we talk about? Like what we want to achieve from this podcast? Like try to get clear about what this podcast is about, or
Well, I just think because it's called family,
right?
maybe if you just, what does family mean to you?
Yeah. So hugely, I came up with the name because like that quality I have where I accept everyone for who they are. I literally walk down the street and I try to catch people's eyes, to catch a smile, you know, like just to connect with any which person on the street, because I recognize that we're all here together. But isn't it funny when like you're in public transport and you look around and everyone's like stuck on their phone?
Oh yeah.
And that always irked me, and you kind of want to connect with people, and it kills me when people don't connect. And from an anthropological view, we're all family, because the human race is all, we're just so much more alike than we're not, you know?
Yeah.
We're more similar than we're not. And I kind of want to put an emphasis on us being connected. I wonder if people can see the world a bit like me, if I can influence people to connect with people more. And I don't know if there's systematic things that like ruin, like we were just talking last night at a friend's place. In the Western Sydney suburbs, people aren't as happy or as friendly, or they want to talk to each other as much like a stranger.
It's dangerous, maybe.
Sometimes,
I don't know.
but yeah, but then there's some lovely people like out here that are like, you know, how you going, mate? Yeah, good, mate.
Oh, when we say out here, we're in Campbelltown.
Yeah, Southwest Sydney.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get people that are just so miserable.
Well, see, I love living in Campbelltown because the diversity of, you know, race diversity.
Yeah.
You know, economical diversity.
Right.
I go to Barrel for work, and it's predominantly white and older and rich, right? But I like to put myself into this whole diverse place. It's, you know, I grew up here. I grew up amongst it, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a superpower to accept people as they are. It's weird when I work in Bondi a lot, and I go to Bondi, everyone looks the same. You know, it's not the same as out west, but
I have people that just don't want to say that they're from Campbelltown.
Yeah.
There's a stigma. And I'm like, I'm from Campbelltown. I don't care.
It's the best.
You know, I just feel like own it. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, like, out near the beach, people are so healthy. They're going for walks, they're going for swims, they're surfing, they're having, like, coffee with their friends. And it doesn't seem like there's so much pressure on these guys' lives.
I don't know. Like, you're only seeing from the outside.
They're very aesthetic, for sure.
Well, you know, they could be asset rich, you know.
Yeah, it's just the culture. Different. I think it's also the culture at the beach.
Well, there's more health. Like, there's more knowledge about nutrition. Like, they've got access to better knowledge.
Yeah.
And because they're around each other, then they're kind of like supporting each other with going to the gym, eating well, juices,
the culture,
activewear, I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
And that's why, you know, you kind of hope for there to be a similar healthy culture everywhere. But how does one do that? Who knows?
Well, it all starts with you.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think maybe what we should do is, like, because this is the first introduction podcast, then I think when we're coming in to bring the next topics, try and stay on point.
Oh yeah, this one's all over the place.
Yeah. But still,
that's how you roll.
Yeah, and I just think for the next one, you know, or for the ones coming up, the different topics, we're going to talk about diversity that I touched on before.
Yeah.
And something about the stories that we tell ourselves. Yeah. You know, who are you? The
stories we tell ourselves. Yeah.
One of the things, like how to deal with pain, like how to deal with depression, how to deal with grief, anxiety, whatever, like that. You know, there's so many different ones. There was one that was going to talk about the absent parent.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, so many people could listen to this or watch this and think easy for them to say, like, look at them, they got a good relationship.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, what I think about family too. Massive responsibility, you know? Right. Like, just even having one of my other sons come and stay and just thinking, oh, I've got to keep cleaning up after them, or I get a phone call and I'm just like, oh, what now?
Yeah.
You know, it's just... I'm not saying that in a bad way. I love my family. It's...
They can be
I can't say it's a burden, but the more people that you're connected with in life, the more you feel them. Like we've had one family member, you know, going through cancer and, you know, like heart operations, and you just feel there's so much that you feel.
Yeah.
You know, you ride that wave, you feel that person. And being a mother is you can't ever, for me personally, because not all mothers are the same, but I am so connected in that I can feel like your pain when you're in pain.
Empathize.
Your brother's pain, you know.
Yeah. But what about people that are estranged from their family?
Yeah, so being estranged from your family, sometimes it's a good thing.
Sometimes it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if family is really difficult, then it's and you can't deal with it, or it just causes you got to work on yourself through that. Like, what are the stuff that you're going through? It's really difficult. You know, it's hard.
It is hard, but I like what you said about family being like a huge responsibility, because it's such a blessing to have a healthy house full of love. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
that is, it's so overlooked, I think, with you know, maybe a factor to like eastern suburbs people being so healthy. Surely there's the beach and there's healthy food and stuff around, but maybe they have good connections with their family and healthy households. And
yeah, maybe they do, maybe they don't, because
yeah.
it's or like it's a persona. It's a, I don't know, what do you call it? It's like showing my face to the world. I could be like, how are you? I'm fine.
Yeah.
And deep down, I am just crushed, you know? I'm just trying to get through the day.
Well, actually, in terms of the family thing and you feeling like very connected and empathizing with family members' feelings, there's also the opposite side to that, which I've felt so much, which is like a certain amount of estrangement. Like, you have this family, you go to a family gathering as a young kid, and you're just like, who are these people? I don't know you. Like, you've never cooked me a meal before. Like, you just have these family members that are just so estranged from you. You just don't even know, like, yeah, you're my fam, but like, can I rely on you? I wouldn't want to.
No.
There's a lot of that weird, like, I'm family, but I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it's the opposite to feeling really connected. It's more like...
Well, you know
strange.
what? It actually takes work. Your family doesn't just go, I'm your family, so, you know, I'm here for you. No, like, it takes commitment, it takes work. It's very much a blessing as well as a burden.
Yeah.
You know, so it can be both sides of the coin, like any relationship.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that's why it's important to be on the same wave and the same page. And I guess that's another reason why we're doing this, because we always have conversations and it's always like, yeah, totally. and it's really uplifting. And like, yeah, why not put that on a public platform? Why not? Like,
Well, that's the
share a
whole
good
thing. Like,
message?
let's talk about Facebook. How many? Because I have a Facebook photo album.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll put all the good photos up. I'm not showing all the crap that happens, but putting all the good photos up, and people would see that and they're like, wow, you know, you must have such an amazing family. You must have all this, and it's just like, that is what you see.
Yeah.
And this is what the eastern suburbs people, you know, like,
Right.
that is what I will let you see. I'm not letting you see the other side, but perhaps that's unfair. But who wants to share grief? You know, who wants to share unhappiness? Or,
That's right. That's like that the latest filter going around now, where the filter you put on someone's face and they're like sad.
Oh, really?
There's a filter where people are like full like crying.
What's that on Snapchat?
You haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my god, you're gonna see it. It's blowing up right now.
Right.
But you put the camera on someone's face and their face is like full distressed. And the reason why it's so funny is because, like you say, we're not showing.
No.
Nobody's posting themselves.
We're not allowed to.
No one's posting themselves crying on Facebook, on Instagram. And I've seen people do it. And when people do it, it's not like you get a healthy response. People are worried, but they don't have
Well, they don't know what to say.
they don't have the capacity or bandwidth to like spread an arm out and go, look.
And
I can
perhaps
help."
that's not the platform for it, you know, like therapy maybe, or your best friend, like my.
Say whatever, because I'll just edit it.
Yeah, but it's better to go, okay,
It's recording.
ready now, okay?
It's better to do that?
Yeah, because if, no, it's, you got it, it's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna go and now and then start. It's, trust me, I know about editing. So, we just watched it back and it disconnected.
Oh, yeah. It cut out. Whoops.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It's just normal life stuff, isn't it?
That's just how it goes.
So yeah, so maybe I'm thinking about our very next topic, because we're going to finish now. Our very next topic would be connection with people, because I think what stood out for me is you talking about the disconnection and how to connect with people and how you try to connect with people. Just an idea, but if people have suggestions for topics that they want to hear about, then please just put it in the comments. I don't even know what platform we're going on with
Me
this.
neither. Maybe YouTube or something. But essentially, I think this podcast is going to be grounded in interpersonal connections. Something like that. Something about human connection and
human condition.
The concept of family, the concept of greeting one another and having each other feel welcome here on this earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Family or not family.
Sorry that it cut out, but that's what it is.
Thanks, Remy.
Thanks, Mum.
All right, love you.
Love you too.